video schedule today that I can afford to do lives. What we're doing today is we're going to modify this fan. We're going to stick a PWM speed controller in it and rewire it with some double insulated wire. Autofocus on this phone is going to be a little difficult, and I'm working on where are we? I'm working on some freezing problems on my computer at the moment too. Every time I run Firefox, it's causing a blue screen out of memory error, so I have to use a different version of Firefox. And namely, I have Developer Edition. Don't expect anybody's going to jump in here fairly soon, so we might just take a little bit of time to set things up while we wait and see if anybody's going to pop in. And I'll check Discord to see if anything happens there. Which, if you need Discord, there is a Discord link here. We can move over here so you can see it more closely. That's capital K, capital Z, capital E, 7P, capital V, capital U, 6ZZ, if you're looking for that. Okay, so I've got one browser up. Let's see how we go there. Apparently I didn't cure the problem that I thought I did. I want to get the live up on screen so that I can see if anybody is trying to talk to me or actually watching, because I doubt that will be the case. Alright, live. I don't do many lives. Alright, that should bring it up on screen. Now I've got a live going. Okay, it should load up and I should be able to see the chat in a moment. And I will turn the audio off so it doesn't interfere. Here we go. Are we almost up with the live? We're looking at it up on screen here at the moment to see if the live comes up so that I can see if you guys happen to see me. Or can I play? I do, and I've got to skip it along a bit. Oh, there we go. Up to the latest point. Okay, now I can see if anybody's talking to me. Now we can get started with this mod here. So, hang up the wire. Go from here. Now, I want to check firstly if this will fit in the box. Now, inside this box is basically just a little resistor. And you've got resistor engaged or resistor not engaged, or in the middle is off. This is a pulse width modulated supply. This adjusts the frequency with which it pulses DC, and that can adjust the fan speed. This, on the other hand, basically is just how much power do you want to waste. I used to work in a fire tower, and one of the things you had to do up there, you didn't have power or water or anything. You had to drag everything up a rope, up about 100 feet or about 30 meters. So I used to lug a small little solar panel and a small little battery, but it was very, very hot, and you needed to make use of every little bit of power you had. So this was a mod I used to do to these fans. I also need to open it up and grease it and clean it and all sorts of stuff. And we probably need to rewire the actual fan itself. So what I might do, put that on hold, we might pull the fan grill off first and clean the fan blades and go from there. Oh, apparently I've got 2 people jumping in. That's interesting, 2 people on board. So if you didn't catch up, we are modifying this little camping fan with a little pulse width modulated controller here to change the fan speed instead of the little resistor block that hides in here. But I've only just started, so the first thing we've got to do is pop this fan grill out and clean the fan. We're going to change the wiring in the back of this too for some of this double insulated wire as well. But yeah, first thing at all, I cleaned my hands with grip mitts, didn't I? I've got no grip. So I'll pop the fan grill off for a start. Oh, we got a notification. That's my wife sending me a message. It's all good. Now, these ones are difficult to get these fan blades off, but at least we can clean it from here. Which will be a workshop rag and a couple little bits and pieces here. So I know not everybody likes this form factor of live streaming, but they are shoving it in the shorts feed now, which personally I don't like so much. But I'm going to try it out, because there's apparently lots of people like things that I don't like, so Let's see how it goes. Getting the dirt off the back of these fan blades can be challenging. Just going to shove the rag under there and spin the fan around a few times. That should get, hopefully, most of the dirt and dust off the back. Okay, so now the bit we want to do is we want to open the back of this and put some more wire in. And I see people have sort of dropped in long enough to decide they don't want to watch and they kick back out again. That's fine, that happens. Such is life. What's that song? Que sera, sera, whatever will be, will be. I'll pop this out. Oh. So there's the back of our fan. Here is our wiring, which there is one wire there and one wire there on the back of the motor. That is pretty easy to get to. So, I wonder which one is positive and negative. It probably doesn't really make a lot of difference. I can flip it after the fact. Yeah, I'll do that after the fact. It'll be much easier. I think the Chinese use the, what is it? They use the trace wire as the center positive. We'll plug into our beeper over the back here, which I have over the back here as a test unit. We'll turn on. That runs off our solar system. And, oh, we've got 4 people back again. People are jumping in and out all over the place. That's what happens with a short feed. So if you haven't seen it before, we are modifying this 12-volt fan to put a pulse width modulated controller in, replacing the little waste to a little resistor here. Because this is basically waste lots of power, waste a little bit of power or off. PWM's a little bit better. Alright, so our, where are we? Oh, no bit. That must be the side of the plug that doesn't connect to anything. Okay, so the trace wire is negative. So, before we redo the wiring, mark you as neg. Wouldn't normally matter with a DC motor, except we want it to spin in the right direction to blow air where we want it. So, snip our lead off, and we will save this box for later, and the plug, we will reuse that. So from here we want a bit of overhead light, turn on our fancy pants stuff in the background, and we have some cable here that I used for threading the other day, threading through the trailer that I wired up. So we're going to start here and unroll a bit of this wire. Pop you out. We're going to need a soldering iron, which we have a soldering station on there, which should turn that on. Bit of 6040 tin lead flux core solder. While we're waiting for that to warm up, we will strip our wire out. There we go. But yes, it is very rare that I do live streams these days. In fact, I've never really done them traditionally, because most of my stuff I'm out and about. It's very difficult to do live streams. But I'm well ahead of the schedule today. So let's see if we can strip this wire out. Once you get a little bit stripped, you can keep going. That is probably almost enough to do what I need it to do. We will just, to be sure, we'll get a little bit extra off here. There we go. We will snip around the back of this. Am I in focus? I am. Snip around the back here. And hopefully I set an appropriate, what's the majigger? Hopefully I set an appropriate name for the live stream so people don't feel ripped off. There. These are flush cutters. I give them a little score left and right and just squeeze. So it irons up to 400 degrees. That's nice. Before we do that, we will want some fume extraction up over the top here. Fan out. I have, if you haven't ever seen before, I have all my controls along the desk here so that I can turn on all the different things I need at arm's reach. See, make sure I've got good focus on what I'm doing here. We'll spin this around. So we want to wet these electrical contacts here just a little bit with some solder, and it also causes the wire to pop off, which is nice. That's one off, and I marked the polarity earlier. Now normally you'd tie a knot to keep it in the strain relief here. We are going to use a zip tie more than likely. Where are we? I've got iron at the right temperature, makes a good I think we've got a nice chisel tip on this one. So we heat the wire with the iron and let the solder wick into the wire, rather than wetting the iron and just daubing it on the outside like some people do. So for correct blowytron direction, negative goes that side. And yes, you can run a DC fan the opposite polarity if you really want, but it ceases to be effective as a fan once you do that. I'm going to wet my tip a little bit there. Here, that's what she said. Put that on there. Okay, so we've got some wires wired in. Need to find ourselves a oh, that is the other bit. I'm going to have to thread that positive wire under that little arm, because when it does the little rotating thing, that will pinch that wire. So we want to thread you underneath. Grab a pair of pliers and pull it back out the other side. That will be better. Train it round the corner just a little bit, and then a bit of solder up there. Okay, now this mechanism requires a little bit of grease on there, and that gear is a touch loose, so let's tighten that a little bit. And I could use some PTFE dry lube on this, but I'm going to use a couple of drops of sewing machine oil just to help this mechanism just along a tiny bit, a little bit there as well. Now these use a bush bearing in the front too, so sometimes you've got to wick a little bit of oil into that to keep them working properly. Which, now, what am I looking for? Zip ties. You would think I have plenty of zip ties, but they're never where I need them when I'm looking for them. Fortunately, these ones are right here. You can see. Go. A single solitary zip tie to the rescue. Where would humanity be without zip ties, I wonder? So I fixed up the GoPro. Not because I fixed up the GoPro, this is the phone. This one. But a little bit easier. Here we go. I'm surprised you're awake this time of day. Alright, that works as a strain relief, so you can't rip it out. Oil the back of it. We can put the back on, which still contains the screw, which actually causes a problem. Thread that over the little thingamabob here. But yes, I rarely do lives, because I generally don't have the time for it. But I'll explain what I'm doing in a sec. I'll just do this screw up. So, yeah, you do work at mysterious times. So, what I'm doing here, where did I put that extra wire? So what comes with these fans is this little resistor block. You've got engage the resistor, which is waste power, disengage the resistor, which goes flat stick, or you've got off. Wasteful way of doing it. It's a big, and I can see it through there, it's a big wire wound 5 ohm resistor, 7 watt wire wound resistor. It gets very hot. So I have this little Chinese made pulse width modulated or PWM controller we're wiring up to the fan. Now what I want to do before I go too much further is a little bit of Singer sewing machine oil, a couple of drops just around the main bush bearing, because they're not a roller bearing, they're just like a bronze or a brass bush, and they need to absorb a little bit of oil to work properly. So we put that in there. Now there is a fan grill somewhere I popped off and it went MIA. Never to be seen again. Here it is. Take the opportunity to give this a quick clean out and dust off. This is the fan that lives in the 6-wheel drive ambulance, and it gets used a lot, particularly in low power situations. And I need to clean the junk that just fell off my desk. That's the OCD clean freak in me. Alright, so now I need to work out where I want to put the fan controller, which is going to be a little bit longer down the cable than usual. So I reckon around about here is a better spot for it. Now, if we can be a smart ass, we can reuse both the cigarette lighter plug and also the box. Where is my spudger? Before we get too distracted, put our fan grill back on. An SCA brand, for the record, stands for Super Cheap Auto. I call it Stupid Cheap Auto. You know, one day they'll probably sponsor me and that will come back to bite me. Alright, so we have a bit of cable there. We will move the fan out of the way. Move on to the box. The box here, if I can do this right, it's either glued shut or I think off memory they're just clipped shut. I can poke through the grill here and push up. That will open up, and then you can see the switch and resistor block in here. It's literally just a ceramic resistor that it engages or disengages. So yeah, probably the most cost-effective way of getting speed control. But we don't need that anymore, so we're going to pop the switch out, which is holding the resistor in, and we can turf that over the side. Now, if we're lucky, this little PWM controller will fit in that box. Yeah, that's what you call a wire wound resistor. They're a big chunk of ceramic. And they're, what is that? I think that was a 7-watt one. Let me have a look. Where'd it go? It's on my lap somewhere here. It's also what she said. Here it is, yeah. So it's 7-watt 5-ohm resistor. So 5 ohms is getting dangerously close to just a short piece of wire, which is literally what these are. They're just a coil of nichrome resistance wire set into basically ceramic, like clay basically. Alright, so this should be able to fit in here. We will have to make some mods. This will clip in, so we'll get some flush cutters here and we'll trim out all the standoffs out of the way, make ourselves some room in the box. Now this will probably negate having an actual switch in it, but cigarette lighter sockets are good in that you can just rip them out of the socket. And with a good bit of thick wire like I've got, it will necessitate that without damaging the cable. Oh, can we get this out? Plastic is stronger than I thought. Right, almost. Now these are flush cutters too. They allow you to cut flush with a surface. So I'm just trying to get in here and trim out all the bits that might get in the way of the speed controller. I probably don't need to trim it quite as far down as I am. But while we're doing a mod, we might as well do it properly. Almost there. There's probably enough room for it to fit now. I think my kid is still snoozing outside. I set up a stretcher to go camping. She's probably snoozing out, getting sunburnt, I'll bet. I'll switch the cameras on and have a look. Alright, Lockie's in. How you doing? I didn't quite notice that. I was looking down at what I was doing. How you doing? Yeah, as I've been explaining to the other bloke here, I don't normally do lives, but I am well ahead of schedule, as you probably know. What we're doing today, we are taking this 12-volt camping fan, and it normally uses a resistor block, which I just had on screen earlier, that's laying on my lap. They just switched this wire wound ceramic resistor in and out to speed it up and slow it down. So kind of inefficient, so we're replacing the controller with a little variable pulse width modulation controller, PWM unit. I'm going to try and build it inside the same box. So we'll see how we go. If that can fit in there, it will be extra good. I could probably put it vertically that way, but I think that'll mount in there and I can put a hole in the end. In fact, if I'm really smart, I can just snip a little groove out of here and wriggle it like you do with electrical boxes. What they call a breakout. Let's get rid of all the little plastic junk off the desk. So, and I can see my kid outside, she's making noise. I may need to abandon the camera for 30 seconds and just see what she's up to. One moment. Alright, I'm back. Hopefully we can plonk this in here and we can put our little controller on the side, and if we're lucky that bit should clip on the top, although I may have compromised the clasp on that a little bit. So if that works that way, yep, maybe just squeeze in. Well, what we don't need is the screw tabs here, because we're not going to screw the box down. So that one can go. Now this will probably, yeah, it will squeeze in a bit, so we'll cut some of that tab down. Worst case, I'll glue the lid on. Should be alright. Where are we? Trim that down. Okay, that should dodge the little controller in there, and that can come out the side. That'll be good. So the lid will go on. Now we want to take power from our fan, and I may engage the services of a pair of strippers here, namely these. Alright, sometimes when you've got them set right they can chew the cable up a little bit there. We don't want too much hanging out the back of that. So what do we got? Which ones are which? So the motor is on that side, motor positive on that side. So a little bit there, squeeze in two directions with the flush cutters, and a little flick, and off comes the insulation. There we go. There's 6 people watching, that's unusual. Strange the number of people that decide that I'm interesting to watch. Yeah. Yes, the engaging, that pun about the strippers was intentional. It is a joke that gets around quite a lot, and that's also why I ticked this stream as no, it's not for kids. We need an appropriate Phillips head driver here. That one will probably do the job. One moment while I clear my nose. What happens when you stick your nose in places you don't belong? You get a dirty nose. Okay. Motor plus is inboard, so we need to wind these terminal clamps open. Now these do benefit from having slightly stiffer cable, because you do need to push these in. Am I in frame? I am. Let's see if I can get both these in at the same time. I'll be really lucky if I don't have a little strand hanging out the back. I sort of got it. Okay, so our negatives are a little bit longer than the other one, which means they're not going to go in there straight. So we need to lengthen that one just a tiny bit and trim the tip off. Just the tip. Alright. My apprentice is going to come in and see what I'm doing. How you going, apprentice?
Hello, world.
Hey. Alright. Go. Alright, there's the positive in. There's our negative. We won't go into the anode and cathode world. That's a rabbit hole you don't want to fall down either. Alright, so that's the motor in. Now we need to do the other side of the cable, which is under my desk.
Hey, Dad, do you know where my umbrella is?
No idea where your umbrella is.
Oh!
You'll have to go look at it. It's not in here for sure, I can tell you that. Alright. Now, we need to get those strippers back again. I've got to give these two a name, I reckon. Anybody got an idea for a name for me strippers? I mean, I know in here I've got, well, I used to have Stoner Torch Green, but I've got Stoner Torch Ned Kelly, and I've got Stoner Torch Senior in here as well. But I haven't got names for the rest of the tools. Not that they probably need it, but, you know, it happens. Now, here is my PWM controller. Do that there. Now we need to trim this off. If you're just joining in and out, because I'm noticing some numbers hopping up and down, we are modifying this fan here with, we're removing the little resistive speed controller in, and we're putting a pulse width modulated one in for better efficiency. I used to work in a fire tower and used to have to lug everything up on a rope. You didn't have power, didn't have water, no toilet, everything. So when you had a battery bank and a little 20-watt solar panel, and the fan was your only way of keeping cool, that or a bottle of water, you basically made as efficient use as you could of every bit of power. So I started doing this to these fans, and I found I got about probably 20% longer out of my battery doing it this way. So positive is inboard, slide our wires in. We're really lucky. Oh, we didn't get a hanger, we didn't get a strand hanging out the side there. Oh no, I tell a lie, there is one on the negative side. We'll just trim that off. Nobody saw that, right? There we go. So we have a little hanger on the side here we need to trim off. Okay, so that's good. Our controller should work. We can reuse our little box here, and at a later date I can get a different box. Or I am going to have to trim that out a little bit. This cable won't quite fit. I'm going to go that way. And then break that out. If I can. I'll bring it all the way out. That's what you do with electrical box breakouts. I'm just going to cut it off flush. Easy done. Drop those two in there. We will probably add zip tie at a later date. Okay, that will drop in there for now. Fortunately these don't get that hot too, which is nice. Okay, yeah, that breakout needs to go down just a little bit longer because we've got to get two of these cables in. Just bend that out now. Trim it off with the flush cutters again. There we go. And in. Now, because it's stiff cable, stiff things do tend to pose problems with positioning things, and no different here. Okay, that should go in. If we're really lucky, this will go in too, without a run-up. And they do say anything fits with a run-up, but we're hoping not to need one for this. Well, the box is not going to look that pretty, I will say that right now. Yep, okay. What I need to do is trim out some more of the stuff underneath. It's not pushing down far enough. So what we'll do for the moment, we'll come back to that box. I'm going to wire the lighter plug next. Now I need, probably we'll just use the rest of our wire here. And actually this is already trimmed in a pretty good configuration for a lighter plug. We'll just work our way around the edge here with the flush cutters and trim off the rest of that insulation. You can almost say I prepared that earlier. Take our lighter plug here. What's our soldering iron? Is still doing 400 degrees. So we will pull apart this lighter socket. Oh, this one's on tight. This one will probably have a glass pack fuse in here. So there is the nib, the collar, the fuse, which looks tiny. I might put a slightly bigger fuse in it. And now we need to undo that bit. Now a lot of these, only one side of this actually connects to negative, which I think this is one of the ones that's like that. Yes, it indeed is the case. Here's our spring for our fuse. So yes, that holds the fuse. This is the outer contact, and this one's not connected to anything, which is seems like a bit of a cheat if you ask me, but it happens. All right. There is our 60/40 tin lead solder here. I've got 10 people watching. It's doing pretty well. This is fume extraction. If you're only just joining, we are modifying the controller for this fan from a resistive load to a pulse width modulated speed controller. which sounds fancier than it really is. And I have it hanging on the lead here. This is our little pulse width modulated unit. At the moment we're rewiring a lighter socket, and I need to find a Bostik product called Blue Tack, which is this reusable, like, tacky stuff, almost like putty, you could say. Where is my lighter socket? There, move down here. Okay, so from here we need a little bit of solder here. We're going to unsolder you. Unsolder you. I'm running a 400-degree iron and I'm using lead tin solder. I want a little bit of extra solder on that. Oh, that is going to melt through the side of the unit. So what we need to do first is remove that before it melts through. Trim off the melty bit. And now more blue tack. Some more of that here. So this is going to be our positive, which is our center pin. It's basically a fuse holder section. We want this nice and hot to bond with the solder properly, which looks like the oxides are going to be a problem. So we have a little bit of contact cleaner here, and we have a bit of a scraper tool, and we might also just flip it over to the bit that's already got solder on it. One thing Blue Tack doesn't like very much is contact cleaner, I must say. It falls off. Oh, 8p. I've got a like on the stream. Okay, awesome. Thank you very much. Okay. That should allow us to get, that's better. Better solder wetting in there. Where's the end of our wire? So this is our positive going in the middle there. So we will strip that. And we will wet that, or tin it is the word. Tinning. Yeah. It's been good and hot. Good bond. Orkly dorkly. Now we want to do the other one, which is in this style going to be roughly the same length to get to that. So we want about that much wire. And about that much exposed on the end. Do that. Hopefully autofocus is not killing this view. Let's move around a little bit so you can see what I'm doing a little better. Move that off the blue tack. This contact we want a better blob of solder on. Get it nice and hot. Got to tin this wire. Now, one thing that is kind of important here is that we get this around the right orientation so that it doesn't try and twist everything out when we go to reassemble. Can we get hot in there? Nope, wasn't cool enough. Bit more in there. That's the right orientation. Yeah, when it's a big contact like this, it holds a lot of heat. You have to hold it for a few seconds. How you doing, Satan? You're in as well. Good to see you here. Again, people are awake at a time of day I wouldn't have expected you to be awake, but not that I'm complaining, mind you. Now, this one goes that way, I believe. Plunk you in there. This one, I think, got to go that way. So it's nice and springy. Pop you in the back. That can get folded over there. Now these ones, I don't put the strain relief in this because it clamps down on the back of this cable quite well. Now we want the other side of connector. This is where I was saying you need to get the orientation right, otherwise it flips around. And my tab crashed. I've been getting blue screens all morning from Firefox. I did a BIOS update that had some RAM alterations and stuff. But yeah, it's been messing things up because I'm not watching chat on the phone, I'm watching chat on screen up here, so I can't see chat for a second. But while I'm waiting for that tab to reload, we'll try and reassemble this backwards. Okay, there we go, we've got that. We need our nut and bolt because I need to nut properly. There we go. Where is the screw? Oh, I'm going to have trouble screwing here if I can't find that. There you go. we go. It's all good. I appreciate the support. There we go. I can see chat again. Okay, there's that one. And we put our ferrule on. And we put our fuse in. And we put the collar in. Hopefully that goes in. Oh, hang on. Before I put the collar, put the nib in the collar first. At least it's not a 100-meter swing stage lead, and if you get to put it together in the right order, and then you have to do everything. And that is not going to do anything until I put a spring underneath the fuse. So let's undo 9/10 of what we just did there. I may upgrade the fuse rating to a slightly higher one so it doesn't itself act like a resistor. But we'll find that out when the cigarette lighter plug gets hot. Okay. So we are good. That looks good. Now, before I do anything stupid, I'm going to get the test leads out. So if you haven't seen this before, this is from 12 volts from the house battery from a solar system that's up here. And on that I have a beeper circuit, and I can plug in with the banana plugs down here, and I can tell continuity with a beeper. So from here I can find the PWM controller at the end and check, do we have power coming in? So that is negative side. Oh, so that's coming in the positive. Okay, so that is coming in on the negative, on the volts in. Common negative on that. So let's clip on to one of the positives there, with the volt positive in, which is going to be difficult to do because this cable wants to twist it around. Easier said than done here. Can we clip it onto that one? We can't. I'm just going to have to trust that it is not short circuit, which may appear to be the case when I touch these two. Yep. Can we go reverse polarity? Okay, yep, there's a capacitor across it. So we will see what happens before we put this in the box. Okay, I'm just going to read a comment here. We just broke down Jackie's Xbox yesterday. Give it a good clean. Yeah, videos like this. Yeah, I've had to disassemble this and clean it while I've got it open too. But yes, apparently my videos are useful. I didn't expect them to be, but people are growing to like it. Now I have a lighter plug up here. Let's plug into that one. All right. Let's see. Can we adjust our speed? This is better. We can adjust from very, very low speed to faster than we had before, to the point where it's trying to take off now. It may be blowing backwards. It does appear to be blowing backwards, which is silly. I don't know why. I did mark the polarity before I started, but I guess motor windings, being the resistive load they are, can be difficult. But we're going to cheat here. Rather than pull it all apart and swap it around, we're going to confuse and infuriate myself in the future by swapping the polarity around. So we're going to swap the motor side of things around. And this is why you test things before you put it back together again. So we are going to do a profoundly stupid thing here and put black for positive. I could make a joke there, but that ends up dipping into territory that I generally don't like to go to. But while I do try and insert humour, sometimes the autistic side of me goes, wait a minute, that might not be a good idea. Alright. Did I just swap them around the wrong way? I think no, negatives were outboard. So that is on the motor side. I do have a little bit of extra copper hanging out the back there where I shouldn't. Alright, yep, let's try now. Where's my plug here? Let's try this. Okay, let's try now. Oh, that's right, this has an off switch on here. I'm not going to miss the switch. And that is blowing the correct direction now. Now it's blowing itself back across the table. I'm going to guess the audio is a little bit useless when I do that too. Spin it around this direction. But yes, now with this, the way these work, instead of just putting a flat out resistor in line with it and wasting power, these pulse the DC. So it's a little bit like alternating current, but it's just pulsing above 0 volt instead of above and below. Sort of a square wave. And because you've got a resistive load like the fan, that acts as an inductor and also a reluctor. It has reluctance, and that smooths it out, and you end up with a nice fan speed control. But this is much more useful. Now I'm going to temporarily recycle this box to do this, but later on I'll put a better box on the end of this. I don't know if I've got one on hand at arm's reach. Well, I do, but it's earmarked for another project. I have this gigantic box that's got an Arduino and MP3 player module and everything in it. A little bit much for that. I do have an old box I used for terminals, and that has a nice hole in it. That might work. I'm not using that for anything. We might ditch that old box. Do that. How many we got in here? We got, oh yeah, 5 people in. 4 likes too, which I appreciate. So we'll open this box up and might reuse this. And I might even wire the light up so that it has, that little light shows me when there's power. And that's one with a resistor already built into it. So actually if I do that, then that can be a terminal box as well. That might all do the same project in one go. And can we flip that up and poke it out the hole? Again, that's what she said. Which also means I'm going to have to re-drill some holes in here. Yeah, I think for the moment I'm going to reuse this plastic box. And I will do that box as a later project. That's going to take probably more time than I have today. So we will temporarily piece this box back together, and then we will find my knob and put it where it needs to be. Alright. There we go. Oh, that's right, that's why we were modifying that box. My goldfish memory remembers now. We hadn't finished properly removing the standoffs in the bottom of this box. There we go. Just got to clean that out a little bit. There we go. Trim, trim. Snippity snip. I had the snip done the other day too, that was not bad. Lots of unsheathed fun in future. Alright. Now that might give me enough room to fit that in here. Here we go. Squeeze in. She fits without a run-up. That's good. It's going to point at a little funky angle, but I mean, don't we all? Okay. Now the lid needs to, I need to shave a bit of the lid off. So we need to go down like this. These are probably reinforcing ridges on the back, but this is a temporary arrangement till we can get a proper box happening. I may end up going back to that other box that I found out of frustration when this doesn't work, but I guess it all depends on how long people want to be sitting here watching me do this. Alright, what do we got? Can that go in under there? We might need to move it in that way. No, this box is not going to work. So, yeah, we are going to go to that other one, which means we're going to have to unwire stuff. And now the next question is, I may need to go and get a drill and a step drill, as opposed to a step sibling. We've all seen those videos, you know it. Alright. Poor man's step drill is a pair of flush cutters in a hole. Is that going to give me enough position to push that through? Well, it won't quite fit flush. Again, we've got to trim some standoffs out of the bottom, but these ones are not so critical. They're also harder to trim out, so that might become cable entry that side. We'll grab my little Bosch drill. And I need a peppermint over here. Alright. Where we go? Yep. Where is it? It's my little boss drill gone. It has hidden. Here it is. I think I have some drill bits to fit. Like that one. Alright. See how we go here. I'll drill a bit higher up in the box. Might help. Now, well positioned in the box. Got enough innuendos to keep everybody happy? Alright. Normally I should be using a step drill. I just don't want to be bothered going to get it. Although by the feel of that, I'm going to have to. So if you guys can bear with me for like 30 seconds, I know exactly where it is. I'll go and grab it. Okay, mad dash to the 6-wheel, found a step drill. So, not biologically related to this one. Alright, here we go. Love these things. Right. So if you haven't seen one of these, they're basically drilled with steps. And you can just go all the way up to a 30mm hole, which is a bit bigger than 1 inch. Because sometimes size does matter, especially when you want to try and decide if it'll fit or not. There we go, that will go in. That will fit in the hole with loads of room. Kind of like throwing a sausage down a hallway. So now we need to undo our wires. Remember that the motor wires are backwards. I did so well getting them in those terminals too. Right. In here. Okay, so negatives are on the outside. That is the volts in, is it? Yes. Volts in. Sometimes when you push these cables around, the insulators move up and down inside, or the conductors move up inside the insulation. Open these gates right up. Might shove one in at a time. Might have better success that way. Alright, where are we? Can we come around this way and angle down a bit? Will that be better? Can we see what we're doing better there? I think we can. Alright. And push that in the gate. Come on, you can do it. These have got probably designed for bootlace connectors, these ones, to be honest. If I was to do this properly. There we go. There we go. That one. Alright, now where's our motor connectors, our motor wire? Twist these up, these all go in the same hole. I'm not going to say it. Anyway, and these go reverse polarity, which means black is inboard. Okay, there's my little screwdriver. Okay, this is fairly stiff cable, so as mentioned before, stiff cables can sometimes make it difficult to get things in a hole. Right. that. And now we'll do this one. Yeah, this one's shifted inside the insulation too, which can make life a tiny bit irritating, but not the end of the world. Okay, you pull back in like so. I'll add strain relief in a moment. Okay, now that is going to be operational as such. I would really want to put a washer on this, but probably not going to be enough room. And the smallest hole in the step drill was a smidge too big for this, so we're just going to hope the nut goes in as is, and we will put a washer on it later. This will work for a hodgepodge 5-minute job because I'm heading out tomorrow, so I'm going to need this. It is good enough, it will fit in the box. We will probably, and of course these terminals are going to have to go because they're going to get in the way. So we'll trim that wire off and trim that wire off. Okay, they can come off. And apparently I hot glued these. This is one of my hot glue specials. My brother and I, my late brother, we used to do everything with hot glue, whether it was advisable or not. But we also used to over-engineer things. We put nuts and bolts and fasteners and everything behind it all as well. But a lot of stuff we did had hot glue on it. And this terminal may not come out until I unsolder stuff. What are you doing, apprentice? Oh, we got some mail. Yep. Okay, awesome.
Don't need a signature. He just gave it to me.
Awesome. You talk to the postie. That's my apprentice. Useful most of the time. Alright.
Dad came in. Okay, you know what? I'm just going to go get a drink.
That's right. Probably a good idea because I'm on live stream. Alright. See if we can unsolder this. There we go. Wow, this just disintegrated. This was cheap cable I'd used on this, obviously. Let's remove that off the terminal. And hopefully we can get the nut and bolt off. Unnutting, surprisingly, is far more difficult than nutting. If that's the correct terminology to use for removing nuts. Oh, that could turn down a horrible path of jokes too, that could. But not appropriate, apparently. Alright, on. Now, need to pull a bit of wire off this one. We can still see what I'm doing. Spin around this way. Give ourselves a good grip here. And tin the iron a little bit. A little bit of heat into this. There's one bit. Go the other bit. There's the bit we need to remove. There we go. That come off much easier. Okay, now we should be able to remove this bit. At least I hope. Undo the post, not undo the nuts. There we go, almost. Come on, you can do it. There we go, came out. And then remove, unnut that. Okay, that should provide enough room in the box now to put the lid on. So the lid should go on. There'll be two ugly looking holes on there, but you know, that happens. Don't much care. And we might tack these onto the underside of the board, and it tells us if there's power available to the box. Therefore wasting some of the power we just saved by switching from resistor to PWM. But you know, we won't talk about that. Although the one single indicator LED is probably going to be far different than the 7 or 8 watts we were dissipating in that resistor. Now, bring our module up here, and I've already screwed that up. So let's see. I'm going to undo that, and the front of this box looks a little messed up because it is recycling spare parts I've got laying around at short notice. So projects go this way sometimes. Is anybody still actually watching this? There's still 5 people watching this. I still find that confusing. Anyway. Yep. Come on, back up. Okay. So, what we want to do is on the volt plus and minus side, because I probably used lead-free solder, put a little bit of lead in that, because lead's like good for you or something. Just to specify in case anybody takes that literally, no, lead is not good for you. Alright. I assume sometimes things are obvious, and I realize very rapidly sometimes they are not for apparently a lot of people. We won't take that anywhere political. Okay. So that should indicate on the top of the box now when we have power. Let's squeeze this up. That's what she said. Squeeze it real good. Okay. We'll put our nut back on for effective nutting. And we'll do it up. Yeah, I definitely do need a washer under there. That hole is just kind of not quite right. But it'll do for now. We'll put our lid back on. And we'll do the screws up just loosely and test first. Because best way to jinx yourself, particularly with computer repairs, is put the case sides on before you test it. Okay, plug into 12 volt power up the top with a lighter socket. We have a green light on the top and you can see the red light inside, and we can turn that up. Alright, and now we should be able to find a knob that everybody could use, and we can twist our knob, because that's why you came to this stream. Anyway, let's do this up. Alright, and we'll be pretty much finished here. I'll be ending this stream not long after this, and we'll be going out to put this in service. Yeah, there's 2 big ugly holes in the box, but you know, it's a box and it works. I should probably, to be honest, put a zip tie in there for strain relief before I get too carried away. It's that excitement of being done. And also the little bit of anxiety in the back of my head when I hear, or in the back of my mind when I hear my apprentice in the kitchen doing stuff. She's pretty self-sufficient these days, but she is still 10 and has not quite mastered knife safety yet. She's getting there. Probably better than a lot of 10-year-olds, but still. There is a level of anxiety surrounding that. Now, here we go. Zip tie for strain relief in case somebody grabs it and yanks it by the cable. Because yanking things can be problematic in the wrong circumstances. Alright. I think I have a video about yanking cables somewhere. I think that's what the thumbnail is don't yank the cables. Alright, here we go. We can screw things now. Screw them up. We can turn the screws. There's no way I can say that sounds right. Alright. Now we have left a tremendous mess after playing with nuts over the desk here. I will have to clean that up and peel the blue tack up, and then we'll get things on the desk nicely and have a good look at how they function. Let's just do a quick little inventory of tools here and round them up before I get too lost. Okay, that one. Solder. Now we also have, in case you haven't seen, I interrupted the stream there for a moment. In case you haven't seen, there is the controls here for my desk and everything, including this one, which turns off my soldering station over there. This turns off my fume extraction, and we can move that out of the way. These turn off the display controls and my central computer, which is an Arduino or an 18 mega. We will chuck all my other bits and pieces away here. This is why we come to live streams, is watch people clean up their desk, isn't it? These things are magic. Somebody gave this to me. I wouldn't be without it now. Magic little bit of gear. We will reuse these at a later date. So reassemble all of them. Alright. Trying to reacquire my nuts. That can go in the bin. Need those nuts. All this stuff can get... I'll save my anti... No, that's useless. All goes into the bin. This is why you always have a bin under your desk. My favourite Schneider branded electrician screwdriver that's seen better days. Probably not rated to 300 volt insulation now. But, okay. So, excuse me while I cough my guts up. We now have a lighter plug and a box with a knob that we can twist. If I plug that thing into the hole up the top there, we can now select a very linearly variable speed. So I can have a nice little slow fan speed, I can bump it up a bit and keep going until I've got enough to blow me away, which before I only had 2 speeds, and the box used to get noticeably hot to the point where the plastic would get soft. So this should be a better solution, and I can swing this around and use it as an improvised mace if I need to. Let's not blow against the microphone there, it's probably not pleasant. So this is basically where we're at. So I'm going to pretty much finish up the stream here, unless anybody wants to have a chat in the comments. But I'm pretty well done at this point. I will be going outside to put this in situ. And I guess I can go over here while I'm waiting and just have a look at some of the stuff on my desk here. This is my mini museum you might have seen out of the corner. Little collectibles that I've got hanging around. This is uranium glass. This is the service pin that I got from being in the military. This is a model of the 8-wheel Argo that I have. Got a 556 blank from my service days. Got an M113 pin in there. This is a gift from my wife recently. I've got some sands from beaches of Gallipoli in a memorial thing there. The hearing aid demo from making my hearing aid repair days. Got some various shells in there. And I think I've got a couple of vintage cigarette packets here as well, with a military theme, as you may have gathered. Over behind the little wolf in a sphere there is a plastic 556 case as well, and a 7.62 as well. So interesting stuff. I don't know if I've got much more else to go over today. In case you're wondering about these are just little extra parts drawers that I have in here. This is a Geiger counter that should tick away with a little bit of cosmic radiation. And we've got controls for like the RGB LEDs, headphone bypass here, audio selection, bunch of auxiliary switches for stuff I don't use. I've got a rework station as well. I've got an extra soldering iron, and these are for, I have some connections to my computer to this as well, so I can have it fire up the computer or shut it down in certain circumstances as well. But anyway, I think I'm pretty well done. This was the project for the afternoon. And how long have we been here? Just over an hour. So I think that I'm pretty well going to call it quits. I think an hour is plenty for a live stream. So see you later, and let me know what you think. I'll hang around for a few seconds after I finish here, see if there's anything on the chat box. Chat box is slow to load. So if there's some people that have left this, say, muted in the background, I appreciate that. The watch time is valuable. Other people may have moved on, which is, of course, your prerogative. So, yep, looks like we're all done with the chat. Everybody else has pretty much had their fill. So we'll see you in another video. Hope it was fun. I'll catch you later.